So I started walking along rivers, and it gave me an exposure to a country that I had not in my wildest dreams imagined, that this is the same country I inhabit with somebody else. My reality in a city is so different than the reality of somebody living in a village which is not connected by roads, does not have services. So I walked across Rajasthan in 2014 and 15, and another realization struck. So I started walking along rivers. India's rivers suffer terribly from the issue of sand mining. We are surrounded by sand. Above us, below us, all around us. It's actually the most mined mineral in the world.
Make Calcutta relevant again. You already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, evening, morning, depends on wherever you're watching this. This is the Make Calcutta Relevant Again podcast, and I'm here with my guest of the day, Siddharth Agarwal, founder of Veditum, my senior from school, although that's not the reason why I think he agreed to be on the podcast. We've reconnected after many years and realized that there are more than one things that connect us. And we just came out of the Kolkata Changemakers Meet version 3.0 on the rooftop of BCCU, and that was quite fun. So for those who are not part of the Kolkata Changemakers community, let's start off with asking you, what is this? Why did you create it? And do you really believe you're a change maker?
Wow, that's a lot of heavy questions. But I'm happy to be here chatting with you about Kolkata. I love talking about Kolkata. There's this constant thing about, there's not enough in Calcutta. I need to go to a different city. And what's happened with all these people going to different cities, young people, is nobody is creating the conversation of what does Calcutta want? There are people, few, but we need a critical mass to say this is what Calcutta wants. I began my journey in the impact space in 2015 when I started Veditum. And I've struggled a little bit over time on finding collaborators in the city. So it's also a bit selfish to start a community of people who are also interested in influencing change in society. So Kolkata Changemakers actually started with this initiative by this organization called Agami, where they were like, can we identify changemakers and enable them to actually make change? And they reached out and I said, let's do something in Calcutta. We need it. And we started this gathering by inviting people saying, if you want to be a changemaker or if you're a changemaker, join us. 12 people signed up. We said, get someone with you. I had a small room booked in a cafe. I thought this is not going to get filled. 10 people are not going to show up. We had 27 people show up that day. And I was like, I am so inspired to see so many people turn up on a weekday evening, right after work, left work and came. And
that was not even a weekend.
It was not even a weekend. It was a weekday, and people showed up and they engaged with so much energy. They said, we really want to make sure change happens in Calcutta. Somebody's a human rights lawyer, somebody's an artist, somebody's an educator. And they came and they talked, and beautiful collaborations emerged from that. So we just are continuing that. And am I a change maker? I want to be a change maker. But I have to often remind myself that it's rather prude of me to think that I can change anybody's life. So even if I'm able to change one, that's big.
You're onto something interesting at least. Do you think that a changemaker's syndrome exists? Do you think that people start believing that they are the voice of God or the voice of people, and then their savior complexes kick in, and then suddenly they believe that they're changemakers?
Yes and no. I think there's this very heavy tension on this thin line where the way the non-profit sector at least works, which is where I work in, you have to promote yourself to be visible to philanthropies, to collaborators, to CSRs, right?
And just to get grants and keep the ball rolling as well, right?
Right. So you have to self-promote. And there's a thin line before you cross it and start proclaiming things that are actually not your domain. You cross boundaries very easily. and it's difficult, and this is a problem that's been there in the non-profit space for a very long time. There is slight course correction happening, but I think social media does not help. In fact, we are constantly seeing lots of consultants enter this space horizontally, right? And who actually don't have boots on ground. And people who have boots on ground, non-profits who are actually working with people, they get booted out. And they don't have any space and agency. So the tension between having agency and having savior complex is strong, but it can also be dangerous. So there is parts of it, but I think it's such a complex space. I don't want to give a black and white answer.
But does having a beard and long hair help in setting yourself apart from the consultants entering horizontally?
It works both ways, actually. Some people think that I'm being atel.
Yeah.
Like if you think about
Calcutta's
it in
favorite word.
Calcutta's favorite word, like just being an atel. But it also works sometimes. People take you more seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So optics is something that you believe is important in the not-for-profit space as much as any other space, and this is...
Very much. Optics is very much important, and people really need to do a lot of work on storytelling. But we can't be disingenuous, which is something that happens quite a bit.
That does. But it's also, I guess, more and more human beings have become, owing to the sheer amount of BS out there, I think people have become more, easy spotters of BS. So they would probably cut out the inauthentic voices a lot more easily than they perhaps would before.
Yeah. I think the challenge is that a lot of people with power have the mic already. And they're passing the mic between themselves, maybe us included. I'm not putting myself out of that loop. And without actually having skin in the game, I think a lot of us talk a lot without actually entering the game. And that is a big challenge.
Like the reason why we have a podcast is because we believe that we should have a voice. But who is the one who gave us a voice in the first place, right?
It's sheer privilege for me to be sitting here or speaking in English.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, and self-recognition and passing on the mic is important. So trying to pass on the mic and creating space for other people, I think is one way to sort of balance this.
So through your work with Veditum, and that's a journey that I've followed from the, sidelines a little bit, and obviously very proudly. So how have you effectively passed on the mic to those who are less privileged than you? And how do you plan on increasing the number of mics that are available to people at the grassroots level or to those with slightly less privilege than yourself?
Yeah, that's a great one. And I think maybe it's an opportunity to talk about Veditum a little bit, which is registered as an environmental non-profit in India. And we have one large vision where we see that a lot of environmental destruction is happening in India. A lot of it can be arrested if we have proper governance. So our long-term vision is transforming environmental governance in India. And we have two flagship projects, Moving Upstream and India Sandwatch. And both of them
India Sandwatch, yes.
And both of them in certain ways are addressing the questions that you've asked.
Okay.
Right? So what are we doing? One is we're learning intimately. When I started off my journey as a non-profit or in the non-profit space, the one thing that I was thankfully able to tell myself is, you don't know anything about this country. Get out of the city, learn. So I went on a cross-country cycling trip, learned so much, but realized I was very fast on that journey and I needed to slow down. So that cycling journey was from Calcutta to Bombay in 2014. And then I started walking. So I walked across Rajasthan in 2014 and 15. And another realization struck. It said, you're walking along roads, right? That brings another bias. So I started walking along rivers. And it gave me an exposure to a country that I had not in my wildest dreams imagined. that this is the same country I inhabit with somebody else. My reality in a city is so different than the reality of somebody living in a village which is not connected by roads, does not have services. I don't want to romanticize or put down either ways, but it's different and it's a reality. And that's where another realization struck in. That I was looking at the world from my lens as a upper caste, male, Hindu man. Incredible privilege in India, in a patriarchal society, to be looking at the world. And that's when I started a fellowship program at my organization called Moving Upstream Fellowship. We've had 23 fellows over the past 4-5 years. They have walked over 2,000 kilometers along different rivers in India. And these have been men and women. These have been people from different backgrounds, urban, rural, English speaking, Hindi, primary language speaking, people from different practices. And it sort of broadened the understanding. And they tell their own stories. I don't tell their stories. They tell their own stories. So that's been one way in which I've tried to pass the mic.
That also builds the agency for them, right? Because it's not an external perspective on their own lives and stories. It's them getting agency on their own stories in a way.
Yes, but I think just to clarify that these are people who are already somewhere in their life. Like they are telling the stories of people who they are meeting.
Okay.
Right? And doing this sort of gave us a sense that there are so many problems that need to be addressed and need to be solved. And one of them, which we've seen, which is a huge problem, is that India's rivers suffer terribly from the issue of sand mining. It's not a sexy topic to talk about, but it's a very serious topic. Where we are sitting today, we are surrounded by sand. Above us, below us, all around us. It's actually the most mined mineral in the world. In India and in the world. But it suffers from a problem of regulation and distributed violence. So violations happen, violence happens. How do you address a problem like this when the most powerful actors in the country are involved? There's so much money that is being made. It runs a parallel political economy that enables violence, keeps people poor. So we have this project, India Sandwatch. It is working to bring accountability to this sector. And there's a possibility that even if we're able to affect 10% change in this sector, we can bring at least $1 billion into the tax net. That's the kind of scale that we're talking about.
So in layman's terms for people watching, how does it affect them? You solving this problem, how does it affect the average taxpayer?
If you think about it from the budget perspective, how much money are we spending on the education budget? How much money are we spending on the health budget? It's minuscule. But if you have that additional capital available to introduce into the health sector, introduce into education, you have better schools, you have better colleges, you have better public health services, you have better roads, right?
Instead of putting it in the pockets of people who are there with malintent.
Yeah, and it's everybody. It's the law and order, it's politicians, it's bureaucrats, it's private citizens. Everybody is taking a chunk out of it. And what it also does, apart from not allowing this money to come into the public sphere or in the public account, where it could be used for certain things, it also takes out its ecological function, which is not talked about. People like to talk about the economical part of it, but the ecological cost of it is very high. We're suffering from the effects of climate change. January 2025 was 1.75 degrees above pre-industrial levels. The Paris Agreement said our best case scenario is 2 degrees cap. We've already at 1.75 degrees. It's the warmest January ever recorded, right? Sand in rivers captures carbon. It keeps the carbon, takes it to the ocean. It's a carbon capture mechanism. It's a place where life thrives and takes the nutrients to the ocean for life cycles to continue. So for a common person, if you think climate change is a problem, this needs to have your attention, right? Apart from the budget and apart from the economical angles of it. and the fact that millions of people in this country continue to live in inequitable sort of environments, because inequity allows this kind of activity to happen, where they're living with bad air quality, health quality, quality of life.
Let's shift our focus a little bit closer to home, towards Calcutta. It's rare to meet people with so much passion for the city and for a passion for making change, I think. So it would be very interesting to learn about, from the Kolkata Changemakers meets, what actionables have actually happened. Were those things that you had imagined would happen out of them? And what are we doing to take those actions forward and integrating that with our everyday lives?
That's a good one. In fact, I did not pin too much hope on what will happen. I was hopeful, but I let things evolve organically. And between the Changemakers gatherings, people started talking to each other. Somebody was starting a education nonprofit to bring sexual education into children's classrooms so that they can have more agency. But they did not know who to speak to for legal advice. But there was a human rights lawyer in the room who said, you know what, I'll work with you. And they're actually working together. They're on the board, I think, of the organization now, and they're advising them on how to go ahead. Beautiful work of giving agency to children in school, making sure they're not getting groomed or not getting abused. And here's a human rights lawyer saying, I will tell you how to do it. Collaborations have emerged. I'm in fact part of one collaboration where we're looking at how can we sense better in Calcutta on what's happening on the climate front. And once we sense better and we have better high resolution data, then we can start taking action. So working with somebody who works in disaster risk management, bringing that energy together, inviting others to say, you know what, I'm interested in doing this. And the way we are approaching it is to say that it's not that this is the first time somebody's thought about it. We recognize that people have tried this over the years. Can we join forces and do this together? Duplication is not okay. We have to collaborate because it's a waste of resources, it's a waste of time to duplicate. So can we be more open in doing our work? Because in fact, even at my organization, this large project, India Sandwatch, it's completely open. You can take all our data anytime. It's out there. You don't need to ask me for it. So I think openness as a concept, what we see in technology, right? The world lives on open source. All our computers are because of open source, right? Why can't we open source the climate dialogue? Why can't we open source change making? Can we open source change making? And that's the idea with Kolkata Changemakers also. Can we open source this? So we don't gatekeep contacts. Everybody has everybody's contacts. Don't ask me, can I talk to somebody?
Just go ahead and do.
Yeah, just do it. You want a special introduction, you come to me. That's it. But you don't have to, don't assume there's a gate somebody's keeping.
And I think that this is a very interesting, perspective that you bring in, that don't assume there's a gate always. I've said this many times over. I think young people need to be shameless a little bit more. I think the inherent idea of shame in an Indian family is perhaps the reason, one of the primary reasons why we as a people don't grow as much. We don't ask enough questions. Curiosity is stubbed at an early age, nipped in the bud. And because we believe that there's this imaginary gate. If we go through life believing that such a gate does not exist, and don't go around being rude and rash and being and a nuisance to people, but in a most respectful way, if you go up to people that you randomly meet, the same way that you with curiosity or with just genuine concern, and you talk to them, more chances than not that they will listen to you.
Yeah. And the one thing that I've learned being in the non-profit sector is that if you do not ask, you will not get.
100%.
You have
in
to
any
ask.
sector, not
Any
even
sector.
a non-profit situation. I think in any sector, because people are too engrossed in their own lives in general to care about what others think, might think, could think. So
just today, actually, in the session, somebody said, "I'm trying to draft this, and I'm going to send it to you." And I said, "Don't worry about how people will respond. You don't have to customize everything that you're saying to people. You can tell people what your journey is, right? Invite them, give them agency. We've stopped giving other people agency. Okay, you take give me your honest response, but I'm already planning and programming. How
This
can I
political
get...
correctness, no? This is also important. People think that if you rub somebody off in a wrong way because you said something in a particular way, then their perception of you diminishes, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think we're also getting into that zone right now. My senses are up. It's like, am I going to get cancelled right now?
Yeah, that is.
I'm going to say something
So
problematic.
then this might be seen as, I mean, on this podcast, we talk about everything quite lucidly, if I may put it that way. And I think these are places where cancel culture could have its benefits, but there are places like this where it actually stifles conversation, or it stifles just openness of spirit or openness of dialogue, because you're constantly thinking about the outcome. And there was this one very interesting conversation I saw between, I think it was Yuval Noah Harari on a podcast with Jay Shetty probably. I think he said something that, when you're in a conversation with somebody, you're too engrossed in trying to impress the other. Unless and until you can actually allow yourself to get bored and then find a solution for it within the scope of a conversation, you're probably not having a very good conversation. I thought it was fantastic advice. It's just like it blew my mind.
Yeah. And there's something you said within that I think we should pick up on, and we'll come to boredom in a second. But yes, I think just saying, because we mentioned this, that obviously people need to be better, but people can't be better by default. We have to help them get better. The unfortunate part of cancel culture is that it clubs bad behavior and bad intention.
Which might not always be the case.
Yeah, bad behavior is not always coming from bad intention. So it needs a little bit of nuance.
Yeah.
And obviously this burden is not on people who are like facing the brunt or facing the impact. I'm not saying that. But we have to differentiate between bad intention and bad behavior. And cancel culture, unfortunately, does not differentiate between the two. So yeah, just saying that, I felt it a lot of times where what we discussed, that you can ask for a clarification. Did you really mean that?
Yeah.
But it's okay if you don't want to. Like, I don't want to put the onus on people about it. But unless we as progressive thinkers take that onus, society will not sort of change.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, why do I do this podcast? And this is my existential thought. I don't have enough of them. I think I should be having more. But yes, recently I had a very existential thought. I was like, why do I do the Make Calcutta Relevant Again podcast? Am I even helping anybody? Does this add any value to anybody's life? This is not a podcast which has millions of followers. We're not even actively trying to do anything about it, right? We just do these and we put them on the internet and then hope people watch it, whatever. We're not professional podcasters. It's just something that we do because we love it. And my honest answer to myself is, I do it because I love it. And for me, this is better than reading a book, right? I would rather have somebody in front of me and learn about their lives and their work. And then this is a good enough reason for me to do it. But is it a good enough reason for other people to be watching it? So yesterday we were at this event, and an older gentleman, slightly older gentleman. I'm not an ageist, but yeah, just wanted to paint a picture. And he comes up to me and he's like, Meghdut, I just want to say that, I'm one of your silent fans. And the fact that you do this podcast, he says, I don't live in India, I live in London. And somebody had told me once, you should follow what Meghdut does. And this podcast gives me the reason every time I'm down in the dumps to feel a little bit of hope for my city, from where I come from. And I was like, bhai, done hai. This is the reason why we do it. Yeah. And this guy was so funny. It turns out he's actually a comedian in real life. Okay. Super, super smart, super funny entrepreneur. Anubhav, if you're watching this one's a shout out to you. Thanks for that amazing conversation last night. And he just, went on about how he wants to bring in energies and opportunities from across the world back into Calcutta. He's just, convinced the BBC to do a show about Calcutta, and a very funny topic. I can't remember what it was, but I think it's going to do super well. And he's pushing for other comedians to come and perform in Calcutta. And the place where we're sitting and shooting this is actually the Top Cat Retired Comedy Club. And that's how we got talking. And he said, I know you have a comedy club, and I'm so glad, comedians all across from across the country can come and perform, and you've built a space for them and you built a community for them. And I'm like, Anubhav, I've built communities for so many things, and I don't know, is it something I should be happy about? I've been doing it because there is no larger reason for it. There is just intent to do.
And it's not rewarded enough.
No.
Right?
Oh, at
Intention and effort.
Thank God I don't have issues with I did not get validated today for my actions. I would have been depressed by now.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's so problematic because we need to have an outcome to do anything. But why can't we do things because we want to and because it's needed? No.
Forget even needed. Forget, what if you just want to do something? Whatever happened to hobbies? Please tell me, why does everything have to be a side hustle? Why can't we just have hobbies?
That's complicated.
Huh?
I think people want to have hobbies, but inflation is crazy. Cost of living is gone up. Wages are not going up.
So you're like, okay, if you can monetize your hobby, then why not?
It's super unfortunate. I'm not justifying it.
Yeah.
It's super unfortunate, but I can understand why people are doing side hustles. Can we do better by them, right? You paying so much tax money, you're paying tax when earning and spending, and then you're spending money from out of your own pocket for survival. So where do you actually have, you literally are buying time. Like this side hustle is buying time to do your hobby. Damn. That's where we are. Think about it.
It just blew my mind that having a hobby is actually an incredible privilege. And I did not think about it that I'm like, the people should have hobbies. Why does everything have to be? But yeah, it's true. That was incredibly privileged of me, and I recognize it. I recognize that I didn't think of it that way. Because it just sometimes feels like you're doing it with an outcome in mind or with a purpose. And this was quite evident during COVID, because for the first time people were doing things without an outcome. At least in my lifetime as an adult, I saw that people were just doing their hobbies. Yeah, they were dancing in the room or singing or doing whatever mimicry and stuff, and just for the heck of it. And then people were applauding, wow, so nice. I actually enjoyed it. But again, since COVID is gone and people are back to their lives nothing happened and not a whole bunch of people died, nobody cares.
Cannot, if I talk to myself from the first and second wave of COVID and tell myself that everything is going to go back to how it was, I would have been shocked. My earlier self would be shocked. How can we go back to how it was after this?
Yeah.
But we've forgotten so fast. Where
Just
we were.
human nature.
It's just human nature, and the fact that this is tying up this and boredom and everything is we're just trying to survive every day. Most people are on a daily basis trying to get by, trying to survive, and which is why I feel that it's such a privilege to just sit down and think that we need to make change, right? Most people need change, but they aren't able to think about the fact that we should make change or we can make change. And yeah, I feel incredibly privileged to be in that space. We can make change and we'll make change and we'll try. Yeah, that's all we can do.
Yeah,
we'll try.
At least honest efforts.
Yeah, honest efforts. Yeah.
I think for today, as we draw towards a close for this episode, I do have one question for you. Obviously, you've come back now. You've established your love for Calcutta, for the lack of a better word. You're actively acting on it every day. Yeah. You've convinced maybe your parents, your family, this is worth doing, even if this might not have been the first choice that they would have had their son do. But there are not everybody is as privileged as you on this. I think a lot of people probably would like to be in your shoes, but find it hard to, defeat all of the external forces to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So to your younger self, if you had a message, who did not know what this Veditum journey where it would have taken you, and all the public life that it gave you, and the joy it gave you for coming back to Calcutta and doing what you love doing, what would that message be to them and all of his friends, all of his peer groups, all of Siddharth's close ones who had that Kida in them?
Yeah, I think I've thought about this a few times on what would I say to somebody who's just joining university or college is please try and please fail. You're not trying enough without thinking about outcomes. Please try more, please experiment more, and fail. Nobody gives a flying fuck if you fail in college. Nobody is asking for any accountability. Just do things. If it's okay if you fail. Nobody's going to say, oh, you did this project, it failed. People will be happy you did a project. And you will learn so much more in the process. So that's one, definitely. Try more, fail more. Please fail, it's really important. Second is go out of your bubble. Like I'm happy that I was able to go out of my bubble. But this is to anybody who's listening or even my younger self. The earlier you get out of your bubble, you're just going to be, I don't know if you're going to be better, but it's just good to be out of your bubble. And as privileged people in cities, I think we live in such a small bubble, we don't even realize it. And it's detrimental to your own self. You don't see opportunities. Forget change making. It's harder. It's something that you really have to have a drive for, or you have to be really moved towards. But if you're not moving out of the bubble, you're missing an enormous opportunity. The ginormous opportunity today of 140 crore people in India. Can you imagine that? Think of it as a business person, the possibilities.
Just the opportunities.
The opportunity, the workforce, the possibilities of getting those people to work on something. There's so much you can do.
And this being India's decade, we're talking about the fastest growth possible for the youngest people in the world, all accumulated within the same country. A big one, but we don't need to go abroad and do things,
Absolutely.
Go abroad to, broaden your horizons, but come back before this period, because I think a period like this where all the forces align to truly, work towards the betterment of your country.
Yeah.
All of these forces will not.
Yeah, and if you put the effort, you can define what it will be.
Yeah.
You just don't have to live India's decade, right? You can define India's decade. So do it. We think about what would we have done if we were in XYZ situation. You would have done exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
You can do the definition of the decade, not for India maybe, not for your state, West Bengal, where I live, not for Kolkata, but for your para.
Do it for your para.
I can do it for my para.
Make your para relevant.
Yeah.
Make it the beacon of hope for all the other paras around.
Yeah, well, why is my para better than your para? Yeah.
I had said that would be my last question, but now I'm just like really curious. You seem like you have a certain spiritual drive towards things you do, and I don't know, it might be a mistake from my side, but for some reason, could be the beard again coming back.
Who knows?
Maybe the beard and the hair, but I don't know. There's a certain clarity of thought, I think, that comes from having studied yourself for a very long time, or having spent a lot of time with yourself. And this is something, if I was doing this podcast 5 years ago, I don't think I would have had the guts to say this.
Yeah.
But it feels like it. And it's a presumption from my end. Is my presumption true? And what do you feel about a spiritual journey? Whatever that might mean to you. I do not know if it actually means anything at all. Or feel free to snub me on it.
Yeah. No, I think it's. I have had my own spiritual journey. I've had my own journey in doing meditation. And there's this thing that happened, and people don't associate it usually with the kind of work I do, because when you tell people that you have been walking across India, people think of excitement, people think of adventure. And this really shows when I got asked a question on a Reddit AMA that I did while I was walking the Ganga.
Achha.
Somebody asked, what does your playlist look like? Because you're walking so much, you must have a playlist going on. And I said, I am literally living a 360-degree feature film. Why will I put any playlist on top of this? Right? That immersion, that ability to be with myself over thousands and thousands of kilometers, just putting one step after the other, it forces you to think. And I credit that for a lot of the clarity that I might have. And I really wish, and this is, when I give talks and I speak to kids, and the reason I talk about boredom so much is I constantly say, I really wish you can slow down. I really wish you can go on a long walk. I really wish you can have the space to just be, right? Not distracted, not looking at your phone, not listening to a podcast. Can you be with yourself for a long amount of time?
For you, what is a long amount of time now? Just sorry to break that chain of thought.
Yeah.
Just so we know
that's
how
fine.
far away we are from the ideal long amount of time that you need to spend.
No, go on a trek, but don't take your smartphone with you where you're getting notifications. Go on a 3-4 day trek. Get enough focus back. We're losing focus so fast. We're not being able to sit down to do a meditation for 30 minutes. 30 minutes is long.
30 minutes is a long time.
Right? But can we do that meditation? Even with all this clarity and thought about this, I still get distracted every 15 minutes while doing my own work. And I have to sort of walk around a little bit, talk to myself a little bit to get the juices flowing again. But really, if you asked me what I wish for the world, what do I want? I just want people to slow down. Like, can we be? Can we be? Like, this thing about earning a living, you shouldn't have to earn a living. You should live a living. You should earn for whatever. But
As an outcome or whatever, as an add-on, it's good.
but first you need to live a living. You can't always have to earn a living. Like, can we make that happen?
Yeah. Guruji to see great ho. I think if anybody was here in this room, you would have felt not just the power of the words that Siddharth carries and the wisdom behind it, and let's not just attribute that to his beard. I think it's a lot of things. Here's a man who has spent time with himself and spent sounds like a lot of joyous time as well. Like, you've learned from yourself more than others. It feels like that. It feels like you've learned from nature, you've learned from yourself. And in this beautiful country of India with so many stimuli constantly, I think I'm almost jealous. I don't say this to a lot of people. I think I'm almost jealous of the amount of clarity and the calm that you bring to a conversation. So thank you very much, Siddharth. Thanks for joining us today. And I wish you the best of luck for the Kolkata Changemakers. Now, I've also been bitten by the bug. Now, you have me as a collaborator.
I mean, you've already been bitten by the bug of Kolkata Changemakers.
True.
It's just this new community.
It's another new community. It's always good to meet new communities, Like, there were so many people who did not know me, and that made me so happy. I was like, yes, finally new people to infect. But, I always love that. And this space also, Offbeat as a space has been built for such collaborations to happen. And I'm glad, even after all these years, 2018, it started with just an idea to build safe spaces for people, no matter what they were doing, and for the underground, for the alternative, for the underspoken, whatever those communities were. And it continues to inspire me. It continues every one of these meets, conversations, retreats, dialogues, mixers. They all bring their own flavors onto it. So thank you for adding another one.
Absolutely.
And whenever you need help, know that here you can reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. I think there's so much that can happen. There's this, every time I have a good conversation, my brain is just lit up with this okay,
Tongue.
Yeah, it's literally like that. If I could make that a sound, what's happening in my head, like tongue, is just like going everywhere. And I'm really happy to be having this conversation because I've had so many conversations where people are dissing Calcutta.
Yeah.
Calcuttans dissing Calcutta. And I fight. I don't know why I'm fighting. I'm like, okay, you have your own realities, you have your own challenges, limitations, and you want to be like that. It's fine. I understand there's limitations, but don't diss it. Like, there's so much.
Don't bring that negative energy. I think that also gets my blood boiling, but it also gives us the fuel to keep this war going. Right? This battle, not even war. Wars can be won or lost. The long battle is what we are fighting. This very uphill.
Yeah, and I keep telling people, like, if you think there's not happening, you do it. Do it. It's there for you to do. It's just about you doing it. Yeah. And you doing it anywhere will need effort and resource, whatever it will. But this delta that you can achieve here,
incredible.
It's incredible. It's sad that delta is high because the starting point is low. But you can make that delta happen, right? Success stories are written by stuff like this. You have a playground where you can affect so much change. Like people think, oh, if I had been right after independence, I would have done this and that. Do it. Like what stop? There's so much need for things to happen. Sorry, I can go on this sort of tone constantly, but I think there's so much possibility, and I'd love to see more people come. And I tell people all the time, you want to take up what I'm doing, take it. There's so much other stuff I can do.
Yeah.
Do it.
Somebody please
you
take
want
it.
what I'm already doing?
Man.
Do it honestly. I will happily step back.
I am looking for somebody to take on this whole Make Calcutta Relevant Again movement. I think it's become the crux of my identity. It's become my personality. It's become everything. Koi le lo yaar. If you feel that you can do justice to it, please take it. I would be very happy to support you with everything, all the resources I have. And not just one. If like 10 of you come together and make this your movement, co-opt it, co-build it, not even cut me out of it.
But do it honestly.
But do it with honest intention.
Yeah.
Do it, bring all of your energy to it. Even on the days where you don't feel like doing it and you're in the dumps, do it because it's needed.
Yeah. So if you want to run Make Calcutta relevant again, this is the link. This is the email address. Send your resume. Send your ideas to this email address.
Send it as a video. We'll send a video of why you should be running the Make Calcutta Relevant Again. We are definitely hiring. Hiring kya? We're choosing the top boss.
Yes, do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, man. Thank you so much for a wonderful conversation. Yeah. I'll see you all soon on the next episode of Make Calcutta Relevant Again, unless somebody else comes and takes up this spot. But till then, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Make Calcutta relevant again. You already know. Relevant again.